What is up, guys? This is my new favorite deck for Lorcana, and it is a Blurple deck. So we're playing with Sapphire and Amethyst, and I'll be doing a deck profile here, going into each card in the deck and explaining why it's there. And then after that, we'll jump into some real games on Pixelborn Connect, showcasing the deck against some popular matchups like Steel Song, Ruby-sapphire, and an Emerald-amethyst deck as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into it here. So the biggest thing with this deck is card draw. So of course we are playing Amethyst Purple because it has the best card draw of any ink color in Lorcana. But in addition to card draw, we also want board presence. And oftentimes when I'm seeing a lot of people play Amethyst decks, they can use like 4 ink to play a Merlin Rabbit, or they'll sing Friends on the Other Side, or they'll hard cast a Friends on the Other Side, draw a bunch of cards, but then they don't have the ink to pay for the cards. So that's kind of where our Sapphire comes in, because we can get some early ramp and just get a bunch of ink so that we have the room to play those amazing Amethyst card draw cards. So the two key cards here is going to be the Merlin Rabbit right here, right? Just a super staple Amethyst card, right? It's a 4-cost character. Whenever you play this character and whenever it leaves play, you can draw a card. Super duper good. But then we also have Flavershem right here, a Sapphire card. So whenever you play this character and whenever he quests, you can banish an item and draw 2 cards. So that's where the items come in. We have 4 copies of the Popsicle here, and 4 copies of the Fishbone Quill. Fishbone Quill gives us the ramp, and the Popsicle is kind of just let us dig deeper in the deck, right? Popsicle is 1 card, but whenever you play it, you can draw a card. So it kind of replenishes itself, and we'll have so much ink with all the ramp from Sapphire with the Fishbone Quills and the Teepos right here, and some of the Mickeys as well, that we can easily get enough ink to easily play a Popsicle and just use it as a card draw to filter and dig through our deck. And if we get in a bad situation where our hand is gone, right, maybe in the mid to late game, and our opponent either made us discard all of our cards or we had to play everything down and we're just top decking, that's okay. Because if we top deck like a Merlin Rabbit, we can play with all our massive ink, draw a card, and probably play that card as well. If we top deck a Flavershem, same thing, we can still play the cards that the Flavershem got us. And if we top deck a Friends on the other side, we'll have enough ink to just hard cast the Friends and then draw 2 cards and probably play both those cards down as well. So let's take a look at some of the other cards in this deck. So of course we have Madam Mim Snake and Madam Mim Fox, that Madam Mim bounce package, one of the biggest staples to Amethyst as well. And the reason that we have these cards right here is that I found that the bounce package works the best when you have a lot of ink to play with, right? Because then you can bounce things over and over again, right? If you play like a Merlin Goat right here, you gain a lure. That's 4 ink though, right? To play this character. You play a snake for 2, bounce the goat back. Whenever the goat leaves play, you gain another lure, and you can play the goat back down if you have 10 ink, right? So the more ink that we have, the more things that we can do with the bounce package. So they're just super duper good, and they're very strong bodies for their ink cost, right? 3/3 for 2 costs is really good, and then 3 costs for 4/3. And Madam Fox has that rush, that board control, so she's very very good as well. So that's why they're there. Next, let's take a look at Teepo here. He is a new card from set 5, and he is a huge addition. Teepo is the main card that we're mulliganing for here, right? If we can get Teepo on turn 2, that means by turn 3, we'll have 4 ink, because whenever you play Teepo on turn 2, you can put a card from your hand into your inkwell, face down and exerted, and we don't mind that we are losing cards from our hand with the Fishbone Quill or the Teepo because of the massive card draw engine from this deck, from the Merlin Rabbits and from the Flavershems, right? So Teepo is the perfect card to work in this deck to get us more ramp. And if we can get that 4 ink ramp by turn 3, we can play a Rabbit on turn 3, we can play a Flavershem on turn 3, or we could even play a Queen's Castle here on only turn 3, which will make it very, very difficult to get rid of. So Teepo is the number card that we want to mulligan here. And the only other card that I'll keep in a mulligan are the Popsicles here. Because if I play on turn 1, I can draw a card back and it refunds the cost of the Popsicle, right? But that's pretty much the only thing that I do whenever I'm mulliganing here. Unless there's a specific tech that I want to do against my opponent. But if I'm just doing a blind mulligan, I'm just going really, really hard here for Teepo and for a Popsicle. And this deck only has 10 uninkable cards. So there's a very low chance that we're stuck with uninkables. And even if we are, I mean, the Merlin Rabbits here are 4. Mickey Mouse is 2 of them, right? So 6 of the 10 inkables are very low cost characters that we can still play whenever we have 3 ink for the Mickey and then 4 ink for the Rabbit respectively, right? One of the big reasons that I really wanted to shift to playing a Blurple deck was because I wanted to do more aggressive mulligans, right? Before I played this deck, when I would do a mulligan, I would keep certain cards in my hand that I didn't necessarily want because they're inkable, because even though I never ran more than 15 uninkables in a deck, I would constantly mulligan into those uninkable cards and they would make my hand feel very, very clunky. So I really wanted to switch to this Blurple deck here because with the uninkable cards in this deck, I don't mind if I get them, because if I get the Teeple, I can put them down into the inkwell. If I get a Fishbone Quill, I can also put them down into the inkwell, right? So having that ability to mulligan super duper hard makes the deck feel very flexible, and it feels like that we can really strive to get cards that we want with the mulligan versus trying to just mulligan safely, right? I've often mulligan all 7 cards or 6 cards if I have a popsicle, because I am digging deep for that Teeple right there, so I can get that early turn 2 ramp. Next, we have the Merlin package, of course. So Merlin Crab is just a great board presence card. Whenever he enters play and whenever he leaves play, you can give a character Challenger +3 to help give a lot of our weaker characters extra attack. We have the Merlin Go here, which is a great way for us to gain lore. When he enters play and leaves play, then we get a lore. These are just more basic staples that we have here in the deck. And we also have the library right here and the Queen's Castle as our 2 amethyst locations. Arguably the 2 best locations in the game, right? They gain us passive lore, and if we move characters there, then we can get card draw depending on the starter turn for the Queen's Castle, or if they're banished at the location with the library right here. Let's also take a look at the other non-character cards in the deck. So we have Friends on the other side, which is an inkable song. So if we're playing up against like a Ursula or an Emerald deck like Ursula Deceiver, which can discard songs from her hand, we can ink the Friends if we're anticipating that. Same with the Let It Go, but we really want these cards in the late game, right? Because Let It Go gives us that control. We can get rid of a character on the board and put it into the player's inkwell face down and exerted. And for the Friends, we definitely want to sing it still, right? Singing is still going to be the best, most efficient thing, but this deck has no problem hard casting the Friends there, and we can draw cards and still play those cards because we have so much ink from all the ramping that Sapphire gave us. So Fishbone Quill is also going to be a key card here, and a big reason for this card is for the Flowersham right here. And oftentimes late game, when I already have the ink that I need, I can play a Fishbone Quill for 3, then play a Flowersham for 4, and immediately just banish the Quill, draw 2 cards from Flowersham, and then I can play those 2 cards down as well, right? Obviously, that's not an ideal situation, but it is an option late game. We only have 8 items in this deck, so Flowersham usually wants more items to be the most effective, but we're drawing so many cards in this deck with the Friends and the Merlin and that Amethyst bounce package to bounce the Merlin rabbit back and just get some more card draw, that usually when I'm playing this deck, I dig in at least like half the deck whenever I'm playing, sometimes even more. So there are very, very high odds that we are seeing the popsicles and seeing the Flowershams to trigger his effect. Next, we have Elsa, the 5th Spirit, which is also an amazing new addition in set 5. She has Rush and Evasive, and on play, she can exert a chosen opposing character. So that is huge to take out your opponent's evasive characters. She works really well against Diablo as well because of our ramp from Teeple. We can usually get her out on turn 4. And being able to take out a Diablo that's evasive there without giving the opponent that much card draw is huge for us. So this is kind of our big control card right here, and she has the evasive that we can combine with the Merlin Crab to take out strong evasive characters as well. Now the remaining characters in this deck are flex spots, so you can take them out if you want and just put something else in to fit your playstyle. But for me personally, I love each and every single one of these cards right here. They're tons of fun to play, and I feel like they have very high impact if I can get them out on the board at the correct time. We have Isabella Madrigal, which can quest for 4 if she's the only quester. We have Isma for that board control because she can return a character card back into that player's deck, and that player will draw 2 cards. So if we need any more card draw for any more reason, we can Isma our own character. If we want to get rid of a big opposing character, we can do that to the opponent's character. And then the Cusco here can get rid of an item or location. We also have the new Merlin from set 5 that we can shift onto Merlin Crab and Merlin Goat and Merlin Rabbit. Whenever we use shift to play, we can search through our deck for any card and add to our hand. So oftentimes we're looking for a Let It Go right here so that we can have the Merlin sing the Let It Go immediately and get rid of an opposing character. Or if we're gunning lore, we can actually look for a Merlin Goat here. Then since it's Merlin shifted, he can quest for 2 and we can play the Goat and gain additional lore, upping our lore for 1 turn to try to hit 20 for the win right there. And then we also have 2 Elsas right here, and we also have a Mufasa right here, which is a huge addition also in set 5, especially for Blurple, because we have so much ink to pay for cards that we need to. So as soon as we can get 8 ink, we can try getting Mufasa down on the table. For the 1-drops here, I opted to go for the Brooms. Whenever I start playing Lorcana, my first deck was a Broom deck, so I will always love Brooms. Brooms are super duper cool, they're super duper fun, so this is just giving homage to a card that I like a lot and that I'm comfortable playing. Whenever you play another character, you can banish your Broom to draw a card, so this combos really well with the library, and we just want to get a body out. If we need more card draw, we can banish the Brooms to do that, but against Hyper Aggro, we can play a Merlin Crab on turn 3 to give the Magic Broom Challenger 3, so they can challenge 4 and take out that 4 willpower Amber Daisy Duck Donald State. And since a Broom has 2 willpower, it will live after it challenges and takes out the Daisy Duck. And we also have 1 Enchanted Yensid right here. I just want to put an enchanted card in the deck. You guys can definitely take this out or put something else in there. Huge shout out to Safani who gave me the enchanted Yen Sid here. I love the card art on this enchanted, so that's kind of the only reason that this card's in the deck, just because it's really cool. And I have actually gotten the combo off here, playing him whenever a Broom is in play to get that extra card draw, which is massive, right? If you can play him and you have a Broom in play, Yensid will draw you a card. He's a 2-cost inkable card, and then he just 1/3. So a very flexible card that synergizes well with the Brooms and with the card draw in this deck. So yeah, here's the deck, guys. The concept is to get a bunch of ink and then tons of card draw with Merlin the rabbit, and Flowershem the mouse, which is why we named the deck Mouse and Rabbit Turbo Draw. And I have really been enjoying this deck, having so much card draw, but then also having the ink after you draw cards to play those cards right away that you just drew. Now that we're done with the deck profile, let's go ahead and jump into the games here. These are some games that I played against some meta decks on Pixelborn Connect. Alright guys, so the first matchup I want to showcase here is against Steel Song, so Amber Steel. And I think that this is actually a pretty good matchup for Blurple. So basically we want to just kind of swarm the field and keep in mind that they have a whole new world. So we don't want to hold on to too many cards in our hand, but we want card draw on the table, like a Flowershem or a Rabbit or something like that. And the big thing that really helps us out in this matchup is hand control. So we feel like that they're gonna whole new world soon. Maybe the opponent has like not a lot of cards left in their hand and they have 5 ink, or they can shift into a Singer. Then we want to use a Fishbone and get rid of all of our cards as soon as possible, so we get some massive ramp, right, with Tipo or Fishbone. Because when you play Fishbone or Tipo, you can put a card from your hand into your inkwell face down, right? So we're going to lose cards from our hand, but we get that extra ramp, and we want to try to do that preemptively whenever we see that the opponent is going to play a whole new world and wheel. And that's kind of the mentality here. So I'm going to go ahead and ink a Friends, and then I play a Popsicle here on turn 1. And the reason I want to ink the Friends is because I want to swarm the field. Playing the Friends there doesn't necessarily help me have board presence. They don't have anything like a Be Prepared, right? If they play a Grab Your Swords, that's fine. Just doing 2 damage to each character. Tinkerbell is fine as well. So since we're not scared for a Be Prepared like a massive board wipe, we can just go ahead and try to get characters on the table. And then I play another Popsicle there because I guess I didn't draw into any characters. And I ink 1 Exert to play a third Popsicle. Okay, so that's pretty abnormal to get 3 Popsicles in my first hand there. And I'll pass over to my opponent. So they have a Cinderella on the table here from their first turn. They ink a Rapunzel, and they play a second Cinderella. And we have to be mindful that Cinderellas have Singer 3, so they can sing. And they sing in Bare Necessities. And I have a Library in my hand, which really hurts that I had to discard it. I inked Let It Go and Friends, and I want to ink all of my non-character cards so they cannot hit me with the Bare Necessities, which makes me discard a non-character card. But unfortunately, I'm unable to because I kept drawing into non-characters like the songs and the location. So I exerted 3 there to play a Crab, and finally I was able to get a character out. So I want to try to start building out my board here. And the Merlin Crab is the first thing that helps us do that. They sing and Let the Storm Rage On to use 2 damage to the Crab with the Cinderella, and they sing another Let the Storm Rage On, so take out the Crab here. And then they still haven't played a character here, so they could ink and then play like a 3-drop here. So we're kind of in a bad situation here, so we really want to try to build that board presence once again and just get some more characters out. We got the Crab out, but they took it out immediately. They played a Pete here for 3, so we can't play actions during our next turn. We draw for turn, and then so we definitely want to be inking every single turn to get our ramp up, because if they play that whole new world, we want to have the ink to play all of our newer cards. So normally I would try to mulligan pretty hard for a Tipo, but unfortunately I was not able to get a Tipo here in my first hand. So I ink a Crab, play a Rabbit, draw a card, and just getting another character out on the table there. And then my opponent has 3 characters there, 2 Cinderellas and a Pete, and we gotta be mindful that they can shift into a Cinderella, the big one, Stout-Hearted, on turn 5 whenever they have 5 ink. So we really want to be careful about that, because if they get that out, it's going to be a little bit difficult for us to take down. And my opponent is just thinking what they should do, I guess. So yeah, we don't want to have too many cards in our hand. We could play like a Fishbone Quill, that would be good as well. They ink a Robin Hood, and then I think they didn't have any inkables. They spend 2 for a Smee. So they got a huge board right now, and they play a Strength of Raging Fire, which deals 4 damage because they have 4 characters, takes out the rabbit, and I can draw a card whenever the rabbit leaves play. Alright, so it's back to us. We draw for turn. We've got 4 ink here. Same as our opponent, we haven't got into any of our ramping cards. So a little bit of a slow start. We ink an Elf-sapphire Spirit, and we play an Elf-sapphire Spirit. We're not going to use our effect to exert, but we can just rush into one of the Cinderellas and take it out. So hopefully now they're running out of removal spells. That probably wasn't the best turn for me though, just because they can do a whole new world right here. But I think I'm ready for it, kind of, because it still also gives me 7 cards in hand. But yeah, we finally got a big character out here, and I think they run out of removal finally because they played 2 Let the Storm Rage Ons, a Strength of Raging Fire. And I think they just quested with all the characters, so 2 for Smee, 1 for Cinderella, and 1 for Pete, and they pass. I think their hand, I think they told me they're just stuck with uninkable cards there. So they passed, and I draw for turn. I can finally try to get some more characters down. So I do 4 there for a Flaversham, banish a Popsicle when he enters play, so we can draw 2 cards. And then Elsa, I think I'm going to challenge in the Cinderella. Yeah, take that Cinderella out, doing 2 more damage. And then Inca Goat, play a Broom there. Yeah, so I just want to get another character out and continue inking every single turn. So I think I'm ready for a whole new world there. I think I have 4 cards in hand. Not the best, though, to have that many cards still in my hand, but it's still going to give me advantage if they wheel here. So they inked that Cinderella Sawheart and told me that they just drew it right now. Unfortunately, so they had to ink it here. And then they hard cast a Grab Your Sword. So 2 damage knocks out the Broom, 2 to Flowersham, and 2 to Elsa. Elsa still has 1 willpower left. And they quest her with the Smee and then pass it back over to us. So they're to 9 lore, but I think they're starting to fizzle a little bit because they have to hard cast that Grab Your Sword, which is really good for us. So we quest with the Flowersham, banish Popsicle, draw 2 cards. And we're really looking for like a Teeple or a Fishbone Quill here, I think would be the best for us. So we can start to get our ramp up just in case they play the whole new world, because now they have that 5 ink. So Inca Cusco, we don't need Cusco against Steel Song because they usually don't run that many locations. And then I think I'm thinking about what to do here. I could challenge into the Smee because he says some damage already. Yeah, so I challenge into Smee, takes the Smee out. So they stop questing. I really want to limit their ability to quest there because they're at 9 and I really want to keep them capped off. So I do 4 for a Merlin Goat. I do another 3 there for a Mickey to get another ink there. So just building up my ink wall. I think I forgot to update my ink there. It should be at 8. And I may update it here. And I pass over to my opponent. I'm just like feeling the ink and I'm making sure that they look good. So yeah, it's my opponent's turn, and now we got 3 characters out on, what's this, turn 6. So I'm feeling pretty good. They ink an Aerial here. They spend 5. Are they going to wheel? I think they do that here. Yeah, so they hard cast a whole new world, and if you can make the Steel Sound player hard cast a whole new world, that's really good. Because they know how to move Mufasa in my hand from that earlier turn when they played Bare Necessity. So they saw Mufasa, and they were waiting for that Mufasa on turn 8. So they wanted to whole new world to maybe discard the Mufasa, and both players draw up to 7. But now they can't really do anything because they have only 1 readied up ink right there with the arrow that they just inked. So Pete will quest for 1. They get the no, he challenges into the Flaversham here, and then they pass back over to me. So right now we have all the momentum. We have 3 characters. We have 8 ink. Even though I didn't update there, it should be 8 instead of 7. And then we also have 7 cards in hand here. We just drew 1, so we got 8 cards in hand. And I feel like this is kind of the turning point of the game against Steel Song. So I quest with Flaversham. My opponent has 7 cards in their hand, so even if they whole new world, it's not that good for them. So I'm down to draw more cards right here. And then I spend 3 to play Fishbone Quill finally, so we can start to get even more ramp. Is that 5? Yeah, for a big Elsa. Show challenge into the Pete, take it out, because P has 1 damage from challenging into Flaversham. And then I just quest here with the Mickey and the Goat. And then surely I'm going to use the Fishbone Quill here to get some more ramp. I think I'm just trying to decide which card I want to ink here, because now at this point I have enough resources to play most of what I want. So I actually ink a Broom normally, and then I play a Fishbone Quill to ink another card, and I play a Teeple with the 2 cards, the 2 ink that I just got, to ink a 3rd card with Teeple's effect, and we finally got the Teeple there. So now we're doing really good. We have 11 ink, we got 5 characters. I mean, I think that's pretty much the game there, because even if they play grab your sword again, they don't really have anything else on the table. And I was able to get rid of a lot of cards in my hand in case they play another whole new world. So I played Tinkerbell, which is really, really good. Does one damage to all my characters, takes out the Flowersham, one to the Goat, Mickey, Tipo, and to Elsa. And then also get down a Cinderella. And they pass it back over to me. So I want to take out that small Cinderella in case they shift here. But I'm actually at the point of the game where I can try to gun lore. Blurple, whenever you have that much ink and that many characters out, we can try to gun lore a little bit more quickly here. Yeah, our draw power is just insane here. Whenever we have that much ink and we don't have to deal with the opponent's pressure as much. So I spend 3 for a library. And get a location out. And Stu's song usually will not have the easiest time with locations because they usually have to play a Then Along Came Zeus. And that means that they can't Then Along Came Zeus one of your characters if they do that. And I'm trying to count my ink there. Is that 6, I think? So I shift Elsa. So whenever I play the big Elsa, I can freeze, deep freeze 2 of the characters and exert both of them. And then, or 2 characters, and they cannot ready at the start of my opponent's turn. And since Elsa shifted, she can quest right now or attack and challenge if she wants to. I think I'm just trying to decide what to do here. I think I definitely want to take out that Cinderella so they don't shift. But even if they do shift, it's exerted, so it's not the biggest deal actually, because right now we can try gun lore if I need to. So I spend 2 ink to move the Goat and Tipo to the library, because I think I'm going to have them possibly play. So the Goat will take out the Cinderella, take a damage so that they don't shift. Mickey's going to sing Friends here, so I'm just getting the card draw back up so I can ink cards with the Fishbone Quill and manually ink cards as well. Elsa quest for 3, so we're starting to get our questing up here. Tipo quest for 1. And then I'm going to Fishbone a card to add to my inkwell, get up to 12. And then I think we just want to hold the rest in hand here, yeah, because 12 ink, I think it's enough for most of what we need to do. So I pass it back over to my opponent. And I'm just reminding them that they can't ready the Tinkerbell because Elsa's effect keeps them exerted even when the turn begins. So they play an aerial here for 3, so you can look at the top 4 cards of their deck for a song to get Strength of the Rage and Fire. And knowing this in hindsight, I probably should have put Elsa at the library because she's our most important or our highest questing character, which is the biggest target for the opponent. So I put her at the library, she'll probably get banished. But I definitely didn't misplay there, not putting her there. And then they play Naveen. He can sing a song right away. So he sings the, or his effect can play a song right from their hand. So Strength of Rage and Fire to take out the Elsa there, who only had a few more willpower left because it was shifted on. And then I think they just pass it back over to me here. Yeah, because Ariel's ink is drying, so is a Naveen. All right, so we just ready back up. And now we got 12 ink. So we got a lot of ink to play with. I ready up all my ink. So I do 3 for a Merlin Crab. Give the Goat plus Challenger 3 so he can take out the Tinkerbell. When he's defeated and leaves play, I can gain a lore with the Goat's effect. I can also draw a card because it was at the library. And then if I remember correctly, I think I do... So I Fishbone a card, and I think I do 4 for Flowersham to banish the Fishbone. Draw 2. Never mind, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't remember. So I do 4 there, play a Queen's Castle. So now we got 2 locations out in play. We move Flowersham to the Queen's Castle. And then we also move, I think we're trying to decide where to move characters. I think we moved the Crab there to the Queen's Castle because the Crab's ink is drying. I ink a Broom, and I think I moved Mickey there to the library, right? Because Tipo and Mickey can quest, which means they can be challenged. So I go up to 12 there, and then if they're defeated, I can draw cards to the library. And if they can't take out the Flowersham or the Crab because they're not exerted, then I can draw cards with the Queen's Castle. So I think I'm down to 2 cards in hand, but we're at the 14 ink here, and we got a lot of card draw coming up with those locations. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for my opponent to take out both locations and all the characters. So we'll see what they do here. I think they're just trying to decide what to do. Yeah, when we get to the point where we got like 14 ink, it gets a lot easier. What we're actually looking for at this point in the game is a lot of the bounce package. What I really like about this is if we top deck, and we don't have anything on the field, if we top deck like a friend's on the other side, we can hard cast it for 3 and still have 11 ink to play those 2 cards that we drew into. So that's the big idea with this deck that I'm trying to do. So I challenged into the Mickey with the Ariel. I draw a card with the library's effect, and then the Ariel will live, and then they play Rapunzel, which is nice because it can heal the Ariel, and then they can draw a card. And I think Naveen just takes out the Tipo here, but then I can draw another card with the library, but they need to stop my questing now, right? Because I'm going to gain 3 with the locations. I think they play Robin Hood, or I think they shifted 2 onto him. Yeah, and they play Strength of the Raging Fire to take out Tipo, so they can draw a card, but then I can also draw a card because Tipo is at the library, and when he leaves play, I can draw. So they pass here, I ready up, I gain 3 lore with the passive lores from the locations, and I draw 3, 2 for the Queen's Castle and 1 for turn because I have 2 characters at the Queen's Castle, which means I can draw more cards. So I think I'm just going to swarm here. I play 3 for Fishbone, ink a card, 4 for another Queen's Castle there, 5 for Isabella, 2 for Yen Sid, and my opponent's like, okay, yeah, no, I don't want to play anymore. GG. So yeah, that was the Steve Song game right there, and yeah, I think we have a pretty favorable matchup against that. Now this is the next game. We're gonna be taking on Ruby-sapphire here. I think Ruby-sapphire is actually a pretty decent matchup if we go first. Going first, I think, is huge for here because we're both ramping because we're both playing Sapphire, but we want to ramp a little bit faster than they do. So this game right here, my opponent goes first, which is a little bit of a disadvantage for us. But I still want to kind of show this matchup and how it kind of plays because Ruby-sapphire is a very, very popular deck right now in the meta. So we do our initial mulligans. And then I think we just shuffle up here. Yeah, so for Ruby-sapphire, it's a little bit tougher because the opponent will have Be Prepared and board wipes, like with like Sisu and stuff like that. So we want to be careful. We don't want to swarm the board. But if they're playing Ruby-sapphire, they have no hand control, right? There's no way for them to make us this card hand. So when I play this matchup, I like to draw as much cards as possible and just build up my hand. And then I want to be the aggressor with lore. So if they're always trying to catch up to me, and my hand is huge, even if they wipe all my characters, I can keep on playing more characters, right? So they ink a Tomato and they play a Popsicle. That's why it's huge to go first in here so we could be the aggressor with the questing, getting characters out first. But unfortunately, my opponent will go first here. I ink a Magic Broom to play a Magic Broom. So they ink a Brawl, and they play a Tipo there for 2. And then I think they have their ink, I guess, at the bottom there, like to show how much ink they have. And then they're just ink the cards on the left of their screen. So Tipo lets them put another card into Inkwell, so they have 3 ink now. And they pass back over to me. So I ink a library, and I play my own Tipo, so I'm getting my own ramp. And then I can put another card into my Inkwell face down with Tipo's effect. So we're kind of mirroring here, and I quest here with the broom. So I really want to be the aggressor, so I start questing right away. Tipo can't take out the broom with a challenge here because they're both 1-2, so they both have 2 willpower. My opponent quests with their Tipo. And then I think they ink another Tamatoa there, and they play a second Popsicle. So you can draw another card when they play that Popsicle. And then they have 3 ready to ink, and they use that 3 ink. And where are they going to play? Maybe a small Sisu. They asked for how many cards I have in hand, so I have 4 in hand there, so I just showed them. Yeah, they play the small Sisu there, which banishes the character with 1 attack or less, and they choose to banish the broom there, because Tipo's effect's already done whenever he enters play. The broom can still banish itself to draw me a card. So now I have 5 in hand. My opponent has 3 in hand there. And I think the reason I have more cards in here, yeah, because I went second, so I drew first. So I ink a Merlin Goat there, spend all 4, play a Queen's Castle here, and then I pass it over to my opponent's turn. So they ready up, draw for turn here, and they play a Flowersham to banish the island and draw 2 more cards. And now that they did that, I feel really safe with the Queen's Castle because they were used 4 ink to play the Flowersham, so they will no longer have the ink to take out the Queen's Castle there.
So we're in a really good situation right now because we can start getting the passive lore from the Queen's Castle and kind of be the aggressor here. So they play, or they have Tipo sing one jump ahead, so they get another card into their inkwell. So now they're ramping up. Sisu and Tipo are exerted, and they have Flower Shem, which can quest and banish the Popsicle next turn, draw them another 2 cards. So I think they pass over to me. I think they have 2 cards in hand. And I gained 2 pass lore with the Queen's Castle. No, they didn't quest with Tipo. They charged into the castle and did 1 damage, anticipating that Maui. So maybe they already have it in hand. I'm not sure. So Queen's Castle has 6 willpower left because the Tipo did 1 damage to it. So I ink my own Flower Sham there because I think I wasn't getting any items this game. I do 3 for a crab, which can give Tipo Challenger 3. He'll challenge into their Tipo, take it out, take a damage. And then I spend 2 ink to move both my characters to the Queen's Castle. And this is actually a really pivotal turn right here early on, right? I have, I think, 2 cards in hand there. Yeah, so if the Queen's Castle can draw me cards, then I think I win here. And if the Queen's Castle gets taken out by Maui, then I don't win. So they quested with the Flower Sham, I think, and they banished the Popsicle. No, they just play that Popsicle, right? I think they already quested there. I think I'm kind of lagging behind watching this. So they spend 4 because I already played a Popsicle to play Fishbone Core. Yeah, so they don't have the Maui here, so they need to just get more ramp. And then they ink a Brawl. And then they ink another card. So now their ink is like insane. And they have, I think, what, 2 or 3 cards in hand, but they don't have that Maui, which is that huge turning point for us right now. So their evasive Sisu can, I think they quest here for 1 and they pass it back over to me. And now they have 7 ink. We don't have 5, but we get this card draw now from the Queen's Castle. So 2 for 2 characters there, and then we can also draw for turn. So that is huge now. We got 5 cards in hand. And I think that's kind of where we can try to take control of this matchup here. And if we were to go first, it would give us an even bigger lead. But going second there, it worked out because we got pretty lucky with the opponent not getting a Maui there. But being able to lead them and have the Queen's Castle stay in play for 2 rounds there, I think is huge. So I inked another Flower Sham. Yeah, I wasn't getting into any Popsicles or items this game. I think I accidentally clicked the lore, so I just fixed it. And then we got our inkwell up to 6 here. And we don't need to get rid of our hand because we could draw a lot, but I spend 3 to play a crab to get the crab challenger 3, take out the Flower Sham there with its 6 willpower, and then Tipo quest for 1. And I spend 1 to move the crab to the Queen's Castle as well, and I pass over to my opponent. So I think I just don't have anything else to play here. And I think they should, yeah, so they got the Maui finally, and they take out the Queen's Castle in 1 swoop. Because they had damage on it and they passed there. So the Maui is all they could play during that turn, though, which is still good for me, even though I got the Queen's Castle. Even though Queen's Castle was defeated, I mean. And they quest there with the little Sisu. And I think they just, they're going to Fishbone a card as well. And actually, they have enough ink to play other stuff because of the Fishbone. So, but I don't know if they have anything that cheap that they want to play. I think they're considering if they should push Fishbone here. Yeah, so they Fishbone another card, go up to 8, and they pass. I think they have 1 or 2 in hand. So I draw for turn there, but I already got the initial draw from Queen's Castle last turn. So if I got any more draw, that would kind of just be overkill. I'm feeling pretty good here. I have the, just kidding, guys. I sing here, friends, with the crabs to get even more card draw. I think I have a ton of cards in my hand right now. I spend 2, play a Madam Mim Snake to bounce the crab back. Now that crab has Challenger 3, it can take out the Maui there, and it'll get knocked out as well. And I want to take out the Maui because it's a big threat. Probably because I got another location, I feel like. No, I just have a goat. So I spend 4 there, play the goat, get a big character out, and again a lure, and I ink a Tipo here. So right now I think, oh yeah, that's why I'm playing friends here, right? Because for the matchup here, I want to keep my hand size up in case they be repaired, right? That's kind of what I'm looking for. Yeah, so they have to be repaired here. Knock out all my characters and playing goat. It's fine because I gain 1 lore when the goat leaves play, right? So the point of this matchup is to try to keep a lot of cards in your hand. And whenever they play a be prepared like that, the tempo shifts over to us. They have 3 cards in hand, but they can't play anything because they spent 7 ink to play be prepared. And now we have a bunch of ink to play cards from our own hand. And now is a good time to try a swarm again. And hopefully they don't have enough be prepared. So I don't want to commit everything, but I play Fishbone here for 3. And then maybe I have Flower Sham here. Am I trying to decide if I should? Yeah, so I have Flower Sham. I just managed Fishbone here to draw more cards. And then I wonder if I ink here. Yeah, I ink the Yen Sid, and I pass to my opponent. Yeah, so actually not the best turn. I think I just didn't have much other characters to play there. So they do 8 for a Sisu, which banishes the Flowershim. And then I ready back up and draw for turn. Yes, actually this is kind of a big swing here. They kind of like caught back up here, especially playing Sisu. So I spend 5 to hardcast Let It Go, put the Sisu into the inkwell, so they go up 1 ink. And then I spend 3 there for a crab, just getting the crab back out. I pass back over to my opponent. So right now we're kind of top decking ish. So they play a Medusa, which is a great draw for them. Banishes a character with 3 attack or less, so they banish my crab right away. And that's kind of what you got to run into when you're playing a Ruby deck there. So you got the Medusa, and then I don't know if they have more. So they have 3 cards in hand. Yeah, I had to play Let It Go on the Sisu because it quests for 3. But I think now I can let the Medusa live because it's not that big of a deal like the Sisu. Play Popsicle, draw a card. And I think is that my first Popsicle this game? So I ink a Fishbone here. I think we have enough ink to do our stuff. And then I think I update my ink there, 9. I spend 8 for Mufasa there, yeah. So they can be prepared again, or they can do something like a Tremaine, but they've used a lot of removal here. So I'm feeling like maybe they don't have anything left. When I play Mufasa, I exert all my ink and then randomly select 2 cards to go back to my hand. So he effectively gives you a hand draw there. And my hand there is at 3. So actually, this is a pretty close game. I only have 3 cards in hand, so Mufasa really came in clutch there. They play a Lucky Dime, and I think they tap 2 here for the Medusa to gain 1 lore, and they quest Medusa for another 1. So they go up to 7 there. But they didn't have to be repaired, so I get at least 1 turn with Mufasa here, which is going to be huge, because after Mufasa quests for 4, you can write up every card in your inkwell. So I want to spend all of my ink right now first. So I have 7 ink, and I have 4 cards in hand, and I want to try to play all 4 cards right now. So I play Flowershim, banish Popsicle, draw 2 more cards here. Because we have Flowershim, Popsicles, and we have Rabbits to draw. So even if we are top decking, we have a lot of other ways to get more cards down. So I ink a Flowershim, spend 4, and then we play a Rabbit there. Yeah, so then we draw another card. Mufasa quests for 4, I go up to 12, and he writes up all the ink. So now we can play stuff down again. And then I do 4 there, play a Queen's Castle again. So even if they be prepared here, I get to draw with the Rabbit, and I can gain Lord of Queen's Castle. Okay, so I do another 3 for a library here. I spend 1 to move Mufasa to a library, anticipating it be repaired, because if he gets knocked out, I can draw a card, and then draw for Rabbit as well. So I get 2 card draw, and they can't take out the both locations there if they play a be repaired. So I gain 3 lore and the card draw. So I'm feeling pretty good right here. I think this is actually the pivotal point. I kind of misspoke earlier. Because when my opponent was top decking like a Medusa and stuff like that, that was still pretty bad for us. But yeah, I think it's looking pretty good here. Yeah, even if they hard cast it be repaired, we get to draw 2 more cards and we gain 3 past the lore with the locations. So I play a Sisu there, which banishes all my characters with 2 attack or less. So Rabbit least play, I can draw a card, but Mufasa stays intact there, and they cannot be prepared anymore because they don't have the ink. But they tap Lucky Dime to gain 3 for the Sisu, I believe. So they're at the 10, but we have 2 locations and a Mufasa, which is pretty big. And then they quest here with the Medusa instead of challenging the castle. So I think they're going to try Gun Lore as well, because with Lucky Dime and Sisu, they can gain 3 per turn. So I draw per turn now, and I think I keep on saying this, guys, but I think I should have a lot of cards in my hand right now. I wish I could show my hand. Spend 3, play a Friends, draw 2 more cards here, right? Because I have Mufasa to ready up my ink, so there's nothing bad about drawing more cards for sure. Oh, I remember they told me if you have a goat, just play it. I was digging for the goat there. That's what it was, because Mufasa quests for 4, and my opponent just gives up here, because if I quest for 4, I could just play a lot more cards anyway. So there's kind of conceit there. But yeah, that was the Ruby-sapphire matchup there. And then here I also want to showcase the Emerald-amethyst matchup. And I think Emerald-amethyst is actually popping off recently, especially in set 5. So I think it's a pretty popular deck now. So I want to show the matchup against this. And actually, Emerald is one of my the most difficult decks for me personally to face, because they manipulate, with the discard stuff on your hand, and it's just hard it just feels very oppressive whenever you're playing up against it. So that's kind of why I decided to play Blurple here. And this deck actually is really good against Emerald, especially Emerald-amethyst. So this is actually the best matchup for the Blurple deck in my experience. And the reason why is because we can easily just have 0 cards in hand and still get the draw power back up, right? And then the key for this matchup, in my opinion, is just going to be to swarm the board, right? Just playing as many characters as you can, because they do not have that much control with Emerald-amethyst. So the more characters that we can play, especially stronger, bigger characters late game, after we get our ramp, the better off we're going to be. So I ink a Popsicle to play a Popsicle, and I pass over to my opponent. Yeah, so this is actually, I think, going to be the best matchup for us. Yeah, and we just want to swarm out everything. We don't care if they discard our cards. We just want to get as many characters out on the table as possible. And we have enough card draw with Flowersham and with the Rabbit, Merlin Rabbit. So I got the Tipo on turn 2, which is huge. So I play him and I can ink a card. So I go up to 3 ink here, pass my opponent. Yeah, and my opponent wasn't able to play a character on turn 1 there. So this is a huge start for us because we also went first. Yeah, and we always want to try to go first with this deck. The ink is Sir Hiss to play Ursula, so you can look at my hand, and I have no songs there. Yeah, this is, in particular, if I'm facing against Emerald, I try to mulligan all the songs that we have in this deck because the Ursula Deceiver can discard our songs. So that's a huge thing that we want to do when playing against this. So they do get to see my hand and have that hand knowledge, but no songs to discard, which is good for us. And we have 4 in hand there, so I play a Fishbone Quill. Yeah, so I am getting rid of my hand here, I think. I exert it, play another card, or ink a card with the Quill, and I play another Popsicle to draw another card. So now I think I have 2 cards in hand, including the card draw from the Popsicle. Tipo Quest for 1. Yeah, so even if they discard my hand, if I draw into a Rabbit or a Flowersham, that would just get the card draw back up. And if they do discard my hand, they don't have much of anything else to play here, right? Because they got to use their ink and probably sing with Ursula. So Ursula just quests here for 1. And then they ink another Ursula, and then they play a Fox with Rush. So returns Ursula back to hand, takes out the Tipo, and then they pass. So it's back to me. I'm running all my cards. And then I spend all 4 yet to play a Flowersham. So I can banish a Popsicle, draw 2. So I'm getting the card draw up, and I probably want to ink and possibly even use Fishbone here as well to get 2 more ink. So I think I have 4 in hand now. So I ink a Tipo, and then I Fishbone to put in a card. So my ink goes up to 6, and then I passed there. Yeah, so I'm surprised I didn't. There must be something in my hand that I want to keep, because I would have loved to ink 2 cards with the Fishbone in my manual ink, and then play the Tipo, ink another card. But I probably want to hold on to the last 2 cards in my hand, I'm guessing, is why I did do that. So they sing Friends with their Fox, so they get to draw 2. And then I think they got a bunch of cards in hand there. So they ink their own Fox, and then they play another Ursula. So you see my hand, I have 3 cards there. Cusco, the Library, and Isma. And the Cusco's there just in case if they play location, so I can destroy their location, put it into the inkwell. And then they play Flynn Rider, so they got some quest up here. But at this point in the game, I think they weren't able to get enough quest to make us behind enough in this matchup. So we quest with the Flowersham, banish Popsicle, draw 2 more, and now our hand is like what? We have 4, 5, 6 cards in our hand now, right? Because we had 3, we drew for turn, and we get 2 more. So we can play a lot of cards here with our 6 ink. I think I'm trying to decide if I should get out the Library here. And if I do, I want to take out the Fox though. So probably not yet. Probably got to take out the Fox first before I do anything with the Library, because I don't want to take it out. And I think I'm just trying to decide. Let's see, I have the Isma. Probably not the Isma here. So I do 3, and I hardcast a Friends, draw even more cards here. So now we're up to 7 cards in hand, I think. And I do 3 for a Mickey, get more ink. So whenever Mickey enters play, I can get a ink from the top of my deck into the inkwell face exerted. So now I'm to 7. I can still ink 2 more cards with the Fishbone here. So Fishbone does 1. I can still manually ink right now. Do I manually ink? Yeah, I do. I ink a Snake here, so I'm up to 9 ink, and I pass my opponent. So probably try and get ready for something there. I think I really want to take out the Fox as soon as I can, and then get down the Library. I think my opponent's asking if I inked earlier in the turn, and I don't believe I did, because I usually leave the ink face up there whenever I ink, and we're just kind of calculating that. Yeah, and I think on the replay, I did not ink twice per turn. I think we're just discussing that right there. Yeah, because I got 3 this turn, right? Because I played, I started the turn with 6 ink, and then I played a Mickey to get 1 ink from the deck, Fishbone and ink, and then manual ink. Alright, so my opponent's gonna do their turn here, and they're asking for my hand. I have 4 in hand. They're like, man, you still got 4 in hand? Yeah, because yeah, this deck just draws a lot. It's really like a huge turbo draw type of deck. And the more ink that we have, the better that it is, right? So we can play all the cards that we draw. The biggest thing about drawing is if we draw on something by playing a rabbit, we can't do anything else. That's not good. We want to be able to play those cards immediately that we draw into. So they take out my Flowersham there. I think all the characters challenge into it. So I'm looking at that fox. I'm like just eyeing that fox there. It has 1 willpower left. My opponent inks a card and they play something to banish my, I can't quite see. Is that, oh yeah, Clarabelle there. And Clarabelle, you can spend 2 ink when you pay her to banish an item, so I banish my Fishbone there. I think I have Flowersham in it. I may not. So I got rid of the Popsicle there, but I'm up to 9 ink there. And I think I probably want to get down to the library or something. So I play an Elsa 5th Spirit, which can exert that Clarabelle. Elsa challenges into the Fox because she has a Rush, and she survives the attack. So now they don't have the damage here to take out the library. And I spend 4. Oh, I had a Queen's Castle as well. So I play the Queen's Castle. And then I think I'm going to ink here to move a character to the Queen's Castle. So I get even more card draw. So ink the Yzma, go to 10, move Mickey there because Mickey's not exerted. Actually, Elsa's evasive, so I'm trying to consider I should do that. And then I feel like Elsa's just a bigger target if they have anything to defeat her. So I just commit to the Mickey. Because Elsa is usually a big target for a lot of people. Even though she has evasive, she's hard to take out with attack. But I don't have the Mickey exert itself there because I want to stay alive to get that card draw from the Queen's Castle. So now I have 2 cards in hand. And my opponent actually isn't playing much discard. They're just kind of playing, well, actually, I don't know too much about their deck. But I think they're kind of a more of a high questing deck there with the Flint Riders. Yeah, and no Churnip, no Cursed Merfolk there though. So maybe it was still in the bottom of the deck. So the Clarabelle, oh, they challenge into Elsa, but I just reminded that the Elsa has evasive, so they can't challenge into it. Yeah, if they play, if all 3 of the characters challenge into the Queen's Castle, and then they play a Fox, they can take it out for 7. But I saw them ink a Fox earlier, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. And it's really just kind of hoping that your opponent does not have like a rush character. So they play the Elsa, exerts the Mickey there, and then Elsa and Clarabelle take out the Mickey probably. Yeah, because they take it out, so now I can't get the card draw from the Queen's Castle because the character's not there whenever my turn begins. That's probably the better play. So even if they, even if I moved the Elsa there, it would have gotten taken out by their own Elsa because that Elsa has rush and evasive. They quest with Flynn Rider, so go up to 3, and then I think they just ink a Friends there, and then surely they quest with the Ursula, right? Yeah, so we don't have 2 cards in hand, but we got a. Oh, they do a damage here, so Ursula challenged into the Queen's Castle. Yeah, so I ready up here, got the 10 ink, 2 cards in hand, and yeah, anything like a rabbit here would be really, really good. So I do 4. Is it a rabbit? Oh, it's a goat. Okay, so again, 1 Lorne to go enters play. So we gotta be mindful that they could shift Clarabelle, but we don't have that much cards in our hand right now. So I play the Queen's Castle, spend 2 ink to move Merlin, goat to 1 castle, and Elsa to the other Queen's Castle there. Yeah, so now they gotta take out, I don't know, either a castle or they gotta take out the characters here. So I keep the Elsa readied up so they can't challenge into it with their own Elsa, and we'll see what happens here. So I have 2 cards in hand, it looks like, or is it 1? I'm not sure, possibly 1. So Castle gave me passive lore here, and my opponent is in a stump situation. Yeah, because yeah, I mean the double castle is huge. And in a lot of these games, I mean, playing out the locations is really, really big for this deck. And just trying to have the opponent try to catch up and take out your locations. So the ink card, they have 7 ink now. And we must be discussing something there, but I do not remember what we were talking about. So my opponent does, is that 5? And what are you going to play? Oh, they shift the Clarabelle there. Yeah, so now they have more damage here because the Clarabelle can challenge right away because she was shifted on. So she swings for 5 at the damaged castle, I think. They could take out one castle for sure, just not both. Yeah, so they damaged the undamaged castle there. Yeah, Elsa and the Clarabelle challenged that. And then Ursula, is she going to quest? No, she does 1 more damage to the castle. And I think Flynn will quest because he has 2 lore. Yeah, Flynn quest for 2, and they pass back over to me. So now I gain 2 pass lore with the Queen's Castle. I can draw a card because Elsa's there, and I can also draw for turn. So I think I'm up to either 3 or 4 cards left in hand there. So actually, this actually looks like a little bit of a dire situation. I think my opponent has 2 in hand, so they don't get to draw any extra cards there because I think I had also 1 or 2 whenever they played the Clarabelle. So I want to make sure that my hand's not super high right now because the Clarabelle will draw them more cards. If when their turn ends, I have more cards in my hand than they do. But I have 10 ink, so I'm sure I can play some stuff down. I do 3. Ooh, I'm drawing more cards. Why am I doing that? So I play a friends, draw 2 more. And that's going to help them out with the Clarabelle there, unless I can play everything. Oh no, I'm going to take out the Clarabelle. So the goat challenges for 4 into the Clarabelle. And I gain 1 lore in the goat leaves play. I don't know if I'm going to do that. Yeah, I did, I think. No, wait, actually, I don't know if I did. Yeah, I think I forgot that actually, but it's fine. And then, what are we talking about? We're talking about our hand size, something? We're talking about something. Or I'm just trying to decide what to do right now. I have 7 more ink here. I feel like the best thing would be to just play as many characters as we can right now. So Elsa quest 1. I spent 2. Oh, I gotta bounce Elsa back with the fox. Fox challenge into Clarabelle, takes it out. So don't. Yeah, I need that big body out, right? So I can keep the Queen's Castle intact if I can. I ink the Cusco because my opponent still does not play location. Play Elsa back down here. Now she's fully recovered, and then she'll take out that Ursula there. So if my opponent challenges right now, they have 3 strength on board. So they do 3 to the Queen's Castle. The castle one has 2 damage, so it'll have 2 more willpower left. So I think that's kind of why I'm doing that. And I have 2 cards in hand here. So my opponent, I believe, also has 2 cards, and they draw for turn. Flynn quest for 2, so they go to 7 here. Going pretty steady. This is actually a pretty close game here. And then there, Elsa is going to do 2 more damage on the castle. And they play a big Ursula there, the Sea Witch Queen. So I ready up. And then I gain 2 lore with the castle. Draw return. Yeah, so protecting the castle is kind of my main goal here. And then for them, they kind of want to get some quests with Flynn Rider and also try to take out the castle. So now they have a 4/7 body on the table that can quest for 3. So that is going to be a big priority for me. But I'm trying to decide probably if I want to try gun lore or control their board. So spend 2 there. Play a snake. Bounce Elsa after I quest with her, I believe. And then I have just counting my ink there. We have 9 ink. What are we gonna play? I could see a Mufasa coming out here. We do 8. Oh yeah, for the Mufasa. Okay, so I exert all my ink, and then randomly put 2 cards from Inkwell back into my hand here. And then my opponent requests that I line them up, and then they select them for me. So they do. I think they do 1 and 9. So the cards on the left and rightmost side. So ink drops back down to 9 there. Or should be 1 and 11, I mean, because I had 11 ink before that. And then I ink for turn now, the Elsa. Exert it to move, probably Mufasa there, yeah, to the Queen's Castle there. And then I pass to my opponent. So we just need Mufasa here to stay in play for 1 turn. My opponent has not played too much control cards. I think they have 3 or 4 cards in hand. So I'm not sure what they have. But if Mufasa can live, we should be pretty good. And how many cards do I have in hand? I think I have 2 or 3. Yeah, I probably have 3 because Mufasa returned 2 cards back to my hand. So castle should surely be gone here. But take it out, then that Ursula can't quest, right? So it's going to be pretty good for us. And we can start to swarm the board here if Mufasa can quest us for 4. So my opponent's trying to decide what to do. And then they do 3 damage into cast. Oh, and they take it out here. Okay. I didn't realize they only had 3 willpower left. Probably from last turn, they probably did a little bit more damage to it. Yeah, with Elsa, right? So they ink a Clarabelle. They do 4. I think they play their Queen's Castle there. And they play a Madam. No, I can't tell what that is. But yeah, they play Queen's Castle and they quest for 3 with the Ursula. Oh, they play their own Merlin Goat. Yeah. And I draw for turn. So my opponent, oh yeah, they returned, one of the cards they returned with Mufasa was the Cusco. So I remember that I got lucky there, and I can now just play a Cusco to get rid of the Queen's Castle. And then I can probably get everything in my hand out in play right now because I have 10 ink. When Mufasa quests, he raises up all the ink again, right? So all I need to do is play a bunch of cards, get rid of all the ink, and then quest with Mufasa, and then play a bunch of more cards. So see what I do here. I think that's 5 to play Elsa, the 5th spirit, so I exert their goat. And then I challenge into their Elsa to take it out because there has a lot of damage. And then, yeah, I mean, the Mufasa is a little bit complex for me because I gotta decide, how do I want to do my ink? Do I ink first or do I ink after I quest with him? So the snake there just quests for 1. And then I'll do 3 to play a fox, bounce the snake back. Fox has rush, so I can rush into one of the characters. I'm trying to decide if I should play the snake there with my last 2 ink, and I just get rid of all my ink and then play more characters back down. Fox will rush into the Flint Rider. I discard a card whenever I challenge into it, so I discard my snake, and the fox takes the damage. Yeah, because I don't want my opponent to gain a lot of lore there. They had 1, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the table, right? So, and plus 2 at the Queen's Castle. So they could have went to 19 there. So that was a big thing. And then I play the snake. I had another snake to bounce Elsa back. Mufasa quest for 4. Rise up my ink. I use 6 to play the Cusco. Puts their location into their ink if it's unexerted. I think right now we pretty much got the game there. Even if they take out Mufasa somehow, they have to challenge both characters, right? Yeah, and then Mufasa has an extra willpower if they do that. And then we could quest for 1, 2, 3, 4 with the other characters. And then we're just a goat away from a victory. And I think they cannot take out the Mufasa there. Yeah, most of the time Emerald-amethyst will have a little bit of trouble with a big, strong character like Mufasa if we can get it out. So just the more ink and the more that we're able to stall the game into the late game, the bigger of an advantage that we have playing Blurple against Emerald-amethyst. So my opponent's trying to decide what to do here. They have, I think, 6 readied up ink, so they can still do quite a lot here. Or is that 5 ink? I can't tell. I think I have only 1 card in hand there, actually. So they challenge into the Mufasa, and they play the Elsa and also challenge Mufasa. Yeah, so the goat gets knocked out, challenged into Mufasa. Ursula does 4 into Mufasa, takes 4, and then Elsa has rushed, does another 2 to Mufasa, knocks it out. And then I draw for turn, and I think all I need is a goat here, right? So yes. Oh, and I played a rabbit for 4, draw another card, and then I can quest for 4, go to 19, and all I need is a goat to win. I don't know if I have this turn though. If not, I'm not sure if, I see they could quest for total of 4 here and go up to 16. So it could get really, really close, but I don't think they have the board right here playing Emerald-amethyst to get rid of all our characters. So I challenge actually with the snake there to take out their Ursula because I can, so I don't want the Ursula to quest. And I quest it for 3. I play my Elsa, take out their Elsa, which took damage from the Mufasa. And then I just need to quest for 2 here. Yeah, 1 hit, and then Rabbit play I can draw. And I think my opponent just concedes there. I hope you guys enjoyed this matchup, and I'll see you guys in the next video.